You have probably heard this trivia fact 1,000 times. Life expectancy in the Stone Age was only 30 years old. It conjures up this ridiculous image of a 30-year-old hunter-gatherer with gray hair and creaky joints, collapsing from old age while their tribe treats it as completely normal. Here is the thing. That number is technically true, but it's a lie. The actual reason that number is so low is both way more fascinating and considerably darker than simple aging. Today, we are going to bust the biggest myth in human history and look at how long ancient humans actually lived. To understand the lie, you have to understand the math. We constantly confuse two different statistics: life expectancy at birth and life expectancy at a later age. Life expectancy at birth is an average of everyone born into a population. This average is incredibly sensitive to infant mortality. Let's do a quick thought experiment. Imagine a tribe of 10 stick people. 5 of them die before their 5th birthday, a grim but totally historically realistic infant mortality rate. The other 5 survive childhood and live to the ripe old age of 70. If you average their ages at death, 5 at age 2, 5 at age 70, the average life expectancy at birth is roughly 36 years. But notice what that math hides. Half the population lived to 70. Nobody died of old age at 36. That number describes a statistical average that literally 0 people in that tribe actually experienced. When you hear that Stone Age humans lived to be 30, it does not mean adults were dropping dead in their prime. It means an unimaginable number of babies were dying. If you survived the dangerous early years of childhood, your life expectancy skyrocketed. Paleodemographers find that if you made it to age 15, you had a reasonable expectation of living into your 60s or 70s. So why was childhood mortality so catastrophically high? Why did 30 to 50% of kids die before reaching adulthood? The biggest killer was infectious disease. Young immune systems without access to antibiotics or vaccines simply couldn't fight off minor infections. Before antibiotics, a simple cut, a broken bone, or a bout of the flu could easily progress to sepsis and death in days. But here is where the story takes a massive twist. The agricultural revolution actually made us sicker. Hunter-gatherers lived in small, mobile, low-density groups. They were largely protected from epidemic diseases. Smallpox, measles, bubonic plague need huge, crowded populations to spread. In a small tribe, they burn out too fast to survive. When we settled down to farm, we created the ultimate disease breeding grounds. We packed ourselves into dense villages next to domesticated animals. Early farmers were shorter, had more skeletal stress, and higher childhood mortality than the hunter-gatherers who came before them. This is known as the Neolithic mortality crisis. Progress, it turns out, was deadly. Aside from childhood, the second most dangerous thing you could do was give birth. In pre-modern populations, the risk of a mother dying from complications was around 1 to 2% per birth. If a woman had 8 children, her cumulative lifetime risk of dying in childbirth could exceed 8%. That means roughly 1 in 12 women could expect to die from pregnancy. The causes were grim and unpreventable. But let's say you survived it all. You made it past childhood, plagues, childbirth, animal attacks, and warfare. You lived to be old, really old. Skeletal remains show the same signs of aging we see today: osteoarthritis, bone loss, healed fractures. And when we look at contemporary hunter-gatherers, we routinely see elders in their 70s and 80s. These elders weren't just sitting around. They were the ultimate survival cheat code, the grandmother hypothesis. Humans lived decades past their reproductive years because grandparents provided massive evolutionary advantages. They watched the kids, gathered food, and held the accumulated survival knowledge of the entire tribe. We literally evolved to have grandparents. The single most common age of adult death, the modal age, wasn't 30. It was clustered right around 70 to 72 years old. We love the 30-year myth because it flatters us. It tells a story that the past was miserable and the present is perfect. But the actual truth is so much more impressive. Modern medicine didn't somehow stretch the human lifespan to impossible new limits. Humans have always had the biological software to live into their 70s and 80s. We didn't raise the ceiling, we raised the floor. The real miracle of the modern world is that we finally figured out how to stop so many of our children from dying. Drop a comment below. Did you believe the 30-year myth? And hit follow for more historical myth-busting.